I need you to stop what you're doing for just a second, because I'm about to say something that might make you uncomfortable, and it might also save you years of your life. That thing you're chasing, the money, the title, the perfect body, the approval, the respect, the moment where everyone finally sees your value, it's not going to give you what you think it will. Not because you don't deserve good things, not because ambition is bad, but because you're asking an outside achievement to solve an inside hunger. I'm Robert. I'm 78 years old, and I spent more than 50 years running hard in the wrong direction, thinking I was building a life when really I was trying to prove I deserved one. So sit with me for a few minutes, because what took me half a century to learn, I'm going to try to hand to you in 10. And I'm not saying this from a mountaintop. I'm saying it from the other side of regret. The lie we all believe, I'll be happy when. Here's the sentence that stole decades from my life. I'll be happy when. I'll be happy when I get the promotion. I'll be happy when I pay off the debt. I'll be happy when I buy the house. I'll be happy when my body looks right. I'll be happy when people respect me. I'll be happy when I'm finally safe. I said that sentence like a prayer. And then, one by one, I got the things. I got the job title. I got the bigger paycheck. I got the house. I got the good life. And I'm going to tell you the part nobody says out loud. When you finally get the thing, it doesn't feel like you thought it would. It feels like relief, brief relief. And then your brain immediately looks for the next thing to chase. Because the finish line moves. You think you're almost there. And then you look up, and it's farther away than when you started. I spent decades sprinting toward a finish line that didn't exist. Why I became this way, and maybe you'll recognize yourself. Let me tell you where it started for me. I grew up in a small house where you could hear every problem through the walls. My father worked with his hands, hard work, honest work, and I watched the world treat him like he was invisible. Not cruelly, just quietly, like he didn't matter. And I remember being a kid, 10, maybe 11, and deciding something without saying it out loud. That will never be me. I didn't just want money. I wanted safety. I wanted respect. I wanted to never feel small again. So I worked. God, I worked. I became the guy who was always handling it. Always on. Always available. Always climbing. I missed dinners and told myself I'd make it up later. I missed birthdays and told myself I was doing it for them. I missed the ordinary days because I thought the ordinary days didn't count. And here's what I didn't understand back then. The ordinary days are the life. The moment it hit me, and I still remember it clearly. By my early 50s, I had what people call success. I had the office, the status, the authority, the you made it look in people's eyes. And one night, I stayed late, again. The building was quiet, almost holy in that strange corporate way. Just fluorescent lights and silence. I remember staring out of the window at the city and thinking, so this is it. Not as a celebration, as a question. Because the feeling I expected wasn't there. I didn't feel proud. I didn't feel full. I felt empty. Like I climbed a mountain, and at the top there was nothing. Just another mountain, and another. That was the first time I realized something terrifying. I didn't actually know how to feel okay without achieving something. The truth: I wasn't chasing success. I was chasing enough. Here's what it took me decades to admit. I wasn't chasing money. I wasn't chasing titles. I wasn't even chasing respect. I was chasing a feeling. I wanted to feel like I was enough, like I mattered, like I deserved love without earning it, like I could relax without something collapsing. And I thought I had to prove my worth. But you can't prove your worth to a hole that was never meant to be filled by proof. Because no matter how much you achieve, if you still believe you're not enough, your brain will treat every success like a temporary mask. And when the applause fades, you're back in the same room with yourself. The part I regret the most. Let me tell you something I'm not proud of. I thought love was spelled Provide. I thought my job was to protect my family with money. So I built a life where they were financially safe and emotionally lonely. My wife didn't need more things. She needed me. And I'll never forget the sentence she said one night. Calm voice but tired eyes. Robert, I don't need more. I need you here, with me. Not your body. You. I argued at first. Not loudly, just defensively. I'm doing this for us. I'm trying. I'm under pressure. But what she was really saying was, I'm living with someone who is always somewhere else. And the worst part? Even when I was sitting right beside her, my mind was still at work, still solving, still worrying, still proving. That's when I learned a lesson I wish I learned at 30. Providing for someone is not the same as being present with someone. At 78, the pattern is obvious when you're older. At this age, you start watching people in two groups. Some are still chasing, still comparing, still keeping score, still angry that life didn't hand them the exact deal they wanted. I know a man in his 80s who still can't enjoy breakfast because he's upset his neighbor has a nicer car. Imagine that, 80-something years old and still looking over the fence. Then I know people who have almost nothing, and they have a kind of peace you can feel when they walk into a room. Not because their life is perfect, because they are no longer trying to prove they deserve to exist. They're just here. And that, I've learned, is the difference. Not money, not health, not luck. Peace comes from making a decision. I'm done chasing worth. I'm going to live. What real freedom actually feels like. You want to know what freedom is? It's not a number in your bank account. I've seen people with money who are prisoners in their own minds. Real freedom is when the things that used to control you don't control you anymore. When criticism doesn't destroy your day. When you don't need everyone to approve of you. When you can look in the mirror, tired eyes, older face, imperfect body, and say, that's me, and I'm not at war with myself anymore. That's freedom. And nobody can give it to you. You have to choose it. The practical part. 3 questions that changed my life. If you're listening and thinking, okay, but what do I do with this? Here are 3 questions I wish I asked myself earlier. Question 1. What am I chasing, and what feeling do I think it will give me? Respect? Safety? Love? Peace? Name the feeling. Question 2. What is this chase costing me today? My time? My health? My relationships? My sleep? My joy? Be honest. Question 3. If I already believed I was enough, what would I do differently this week? Would I call someone? Would I take a walk? Would I stop trying to win an argument? Would I rest without guilt? Write one small change, not a grand transformation, one real change. Because your life won't change from a dramatic speech. It changes from what you do on an ordinary Tuesday. The line I want to leave you with. If you remember nothing else, remember this. There is no finish line. You solve one problem, another one shows up. You reach one goal, your brain invents a new one. That's not failure. That's life. So if you keep telling yourself, I'll live when, you'll postpone your life forever. Stop rating. You don't need permission to be at peace. You don't need to earn your worth. You don't need to prove you deserve to take up space. You are enough right now. Not when you're richer, not when you're fitter, not when someone finally apologizes, not when the world agrees you're valuable. Right now. I learned that at 73. I'd give anything to hand it to my 30-year-old self. So, I'm handing it to you.